Hello, friends. My name is Brian. My friends call me BG, and this is BG by the Beach. And this is my second video ever, and I still feel ridiculous saying that. After my reaction video to The Life of a Showgirl, which, by the way, I have started to enjoy more and more each time I listen to it. It just wasn't what I was expecting. And once I divorced my expectations from the listening experience, I liked it more and more basically every listen. Opalite is my favorite song on the album. I've listened to it, I don't know, 400 times in the last week. And that's kind of the story about that. But one of the things that I wanted to, one of the stories that I wanted to tell here is kind of how I became a Swiftie. Is I feel like you look at me, not your prototypical Swiftie, and here we are. So a little about my music taste, usually. I'm a ska punk guy. I went to high school in the late 90s when Blink 182 and pop punk was super popular, and I got really into a band called Real Big Fish. You may remember their song Sell Out or their cover of Take On Me. I must have seen that. I've seen them about 15 times live in concert. It's my favorite band in the world. Blink 182, love Weezer, love Newfound Glory. Power chords, man. That's the way I roll. Pop music still hits me every once in a while. I have this tendency to, a song just hits me right, and I'll put it on repeat for, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks. And a lot of times those songs are not songs you would expect that I would like. For example, the last time that this hit me, a couple of months ago, was a 12 or 13-year-old song called Starships by Nicki Minaj. And it hit me, and I listened to it on repeat for weeks. So I have that tendency within me. Maybe you do as well. And I was always kind of aware of Taylor Swift. Obviously, you can't live in the world and not have heard Take It Off. So, and I even liked a couple of songs. I like Love Story. I've liked that song for a very long time. I'd heard Shake It Off. I'd heard 22. I'd heard the big hits, but I just never listened to an album beginning to end before. It never just hadn't happened. Torture Post Apartment came out, I guess, in February last year. Shortly after it came out, one of my friend named Missy, she starts texting me and she's like, "You have to listen to this album. You specifically have to listen to this album." Hit play, Fortnite comes on. That's a fun song. Okay, Posty, I like it. Tortured Poets Department. And as I'm listening, I'm kind of like, this is pretty good. Down Bad. All right, this is a good one. Going through the early part of the album, and then Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? And I think you know the part in the song, right? It's that first time that she screams, and you're kind of it just is a chills moment. It comes up out of nowhere, and you're just kind of like, oh, that one felt good on my brain. And that was my first hint that I might be in for something here. and, and then I can do it with a broken heart start. And you're kind of listening and you're like, wow, that's a really kind of upbeat sound. The lyrics don't necessarily match that tone, but it's really fun. It's really a really fun song. I mentioned in my reaction video, the thing that I noticed first and foremost in any song was the music. And so even though I know, the lyrics aren't necessarily super happy, it sounds that way, and that's what hit me. And then the pre-chorus starts, and it starts getting a little bouncy, and then the chorus comes in, and I was like, "Oh man, here we go. This is the next one." And I knew I had my next repeat song. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I listened to it on repeat for weeks, and kept listening to the album. I got to the end of the album, and I texted Missy back right away, and I was like, "Here, I like it." Told a couple of other Swifties in my life that I liked the new album, and they immediately started putting it in a playlist for me and sending me all sorts of stuff. You got to listen to this one. You got to listen to this one. This is happening in May of last year. I go on this beach trip with my college friends every year. Trip that we've been doing this for more than 20 years now. Now that I live in Florida, beach trip is usually to Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina. So I've got to fly there. I'm kind of an anxious flyer. I'll never not do it. I'll always get on the plane, but I'm just a little anxious about it. I gotta get to the airport early. Gotta get my stupid little Starbucks drink, and I gotta pace around the terminal. So one of the things I started doing was picking a Taylor Swift album and just listening to it while I pace up and down the terminal. For the beach trip in that May, it was still Tortured Poets Apartment, and I just kept playing, kept playing, kept playing. A month later, I went to Greece for my birthday. So this is June of last year. I booked a trip with a company called Flashpack. Flashpack pulls together solo travelers. Everybody's about the same age, 30s and 40s. You get yourself to this location, and they plan out all these adventures and activities that you can do on the trip. And you basically meet everybody that you're going to be traveling with at the hotel when you check in. So I knew I was going to be doing, this was my birthday trip. My airport albums were Tortured Poets Department and Lover. So I'm at the airport, going to Greece, listening to Tortured Poets Department. I had a pretty long layover in Toronto before the flight to Athens, and listening to Lover, Cruel Summer. First time I heard it, it didn't necessarily hit me right away, but I was like, "Oh, this is a good one. I'm gonna need to keep listening to this one." So get to Greece, check in at the hotel, meet all my new friends that are gonna be going around Greece with me. We go to Athens for a few days, and we go to Santorini, Mykonos, and it's just the best time. And the last day of the trip is my actual birthday. Um, this is one of the reasons I chose this trip. The last day of the trip was a catamaran cruise off the coast of Santorini to watch sunset. Now, everybody on the trip by this time, 8 days into it, knows it's my birthday, and there's a DJ on the boat, and there's free beer and wine, and so I'm drinking white wine on this boat, and um, the DJ is playing songs, and so they say, "Hey, it's your birthday. What do you want to listen to?" I say Taylor Swift, and throughout the week, every time we went out, shout out to all the girls on the trip who would go make requests of the DJ to play Taylor Swift songs for me, and we did it. And I must have heard I can do it with a broken hook 20 times. These clubs throughout Greece. We had a really good time, and so we're on the boat, and who even knows how many white wines I've had by this point, but the sun's starting to go down, and they bring out a cupcake with a candle in it, and Jaylene was also around her birthday, so they kind of celebrated both of our birthdays, and the DJ played Full Summer, and we had just enough of a buzz. It gets to the bridge of the song, and I just perk up, and I'm like, now wait a second, this is the one. This is it. And Cruel Summer, I just, those two songs, I can do it with a broken heart and Cruel Summer on repeat all summer long. And, so yeah, shout out to Byron and Celia and Dan and David and Eric and Juliana and Jarek and Jaylene and Lisa and Stephen and Rhiannon from the Flashback crew. Thank you for fueling my Swiftie nonsense and playing along and being good sports throughout the week. So I get back from the trip, a couple other trips throughout the rest of the year, and every time I go to the airport, I'm picking a new album, listening to it, and going through it. And don't forget, here's the thing: May. I didn't start listening to Taylor Swift with any regularity until May of 2024. Get to the end of the year, I get my Spotify Wrapped, my top song. I can do it with a broken apparently streamed it 172 times, which put me in the top 0.005% of listeners of that song worldwide. I did it in 6 months, basically. And top artist, Taylor Swift, with 15% of my total Spotify listening minutes. Again, he did it in 6 months. And Cruel Summer rocketed my charts and was number three in my top five songs list. Every airport trip, I pick a new album to listen to. So that's the story of my Spotify Wrapped last year. I'm excited to see what it looks like this year now, with The Life of a Showgirl being on repeat for the last week and probably for the foreseeable future. I'm going to Vegas this weekend. I fly out there on Thursday. I'll be going to the When We Were Young music festival. Speaking of my usual music tastes, on Saturday, so I'll have a lot of report pacing time to listen to this one and just keep immersing myself in it. And then Saturday is going to be all emo and punk all over again. We'll see Weezer and The Used and The Offspring and Blink 182 and Panic at the Disco and Mayday Parade and all these bands that I've just grown have loved my whole life. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we'll use that airport time to dig deeper into Life of a Showgirl, maybe picking another older album that I haven't really spent a lot of time with. I think so. Where I am right now, who even knows how to rank this stuff? There's so much. Everything is good, and everything is good for a different reason. Cruel Summer is my favorite song. I know that much. Favorite album, I really liked Lover. I really liked 1989 and Tortured Poets Department. I think that one is always going to have a special place in my heart because it's the first one that I really listened to all the way through. And that's the one that got me to want to dive deeper into everything else anyway. So I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is my favorite song on there. But then The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, The Black Dog, she talks about the starting line, another band that I'm probably going to see next Saturday. And the manuscript. That is from the very first time I listened to it, for whatever reason, the first two or three notes on the piano just makes me cry every time. And then when you dig into the lyrics and you listen to that song and you pull your own meaning from it. I think something that she has said over the last week, just dealing with um, the critical response to the Life of a Showgirl, is that she talks about art being a mirror, and so that when you experience art, whatever it is, it reflects back onto you the things that you're feeling. And some of the lyrics in the manuscript are a little tough, for somebody who has lost their person, and it gets me. But it's a beautiful song, and some part of me likes to likes to live in those feelings sometimes. Those are some of my favorite albums. My favorite songs, like I said, Cruel Summer, love that one. Blank Space, of course. Um, Wildest Dreams, I really like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep digging in and um, let me know your favorite song. What's your favorite album? Why do you love your favorite album? What is it about Reputation that you love so much? What is it about Midnights that makes you, listen to that album on repeat? I would love to hear that. So that's where I am in my Swiftie journey. That's how I got here. Love The Life of a Showgirl. The more I listen to it, excited to keep listening to it. That's all I've got. So now, if you don't mind me, I will go back and put Opalite on repeat again. We will see you next time.